men's conference. Y'all ain't no men's out here. With all y'all wins of doctrine. Us y'all again, stop it. Multiple enemies rising, but we stay cool like dry fits. Against the truth, you will lose, nothing you can do about it. This is an organization, don't argue, stop wasting our dedicated time. Brothers want us to speak Hebrew, so say that in Hebrew. Let me stop. Hey, purple on boots shining and we deep. Lazy can't.
So, what all have you understood thus far with what the officer Joshua was bringing out to you?
Basically, it's been in the office that they gave us, pretty much telling us what we came from,
Right.
what was going to happen to us,
Right. And what?
Psychological effects of what was going to happen to us.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. So the ultimate thing, when you read this Bible, bro, even though it's in everyone's churches, everyone's homes, all different races, so forth and so on, this book is actually the history and the future tense book of the black man and the black woman. The Hispanic man, Hispanic woman, that's it. Now watch this. With all these images and what he showed you in the scriptures correlate with our history, that this is pertaining to us, this Bible's pertaining to us, get Daniel chapter 9, verse 11. I want to show you something heavy, bro. The Lord loves us as the 12 tribes of Israel. When you look on the sign, did he tell you what your nationality is? So he probably hasn't got that far yet. But when you look on the sign, this is the 12 tribes of Israel. So you had Abraham. When you understand the Bible, historical context, you had Abraham. That's who God was dealing with. God even called him his friend. This is my friend. Why? Because Abraham done things to prove himself to the Father. And the Lord said, you know what? I'm going to make a promise with you. I'm going to make a covenant with you. I'm going to make a mighty and great seed come from you. That's what he said in the Bible. So then from Abraham came Isaac. And then Isaac, guess what? That's where that covenant was dealing with. God was dealing with Abraham. It went to Isaac. Then from there, it went to Jacob. And that's where the 12 tribes of Israel come from. And that's what you see on the side here. So this is the 12 tribes of Israel where God dealt a promise with. But then go back to go to Deuteronomy 28. And read verse 15 again, then we're going to read verse 1. Because the officer was showing you curses that happened to us. Why did it happen to us? Why did the curses happen? Why? If we are proclaiming to say that we are the 12 tribes of Israel, why did these things happen to us? Why?
It's not a Yeti though. It's
they got their established.
Right.
And knowing how, just if you look at just how you're like, I know when you got over there, you like, you a 5'11", 5'5", looking at some 6'6".
Right. Right.
Sequence good.
Right.
You wearing tights and elf outfits. And,
right.
You know, looking like all this masculinity, the rich resources we had. Like, okay, the only thing that I have that can probably, you know what I'm saying, manipulate is maybe the fact that they don't know about this other stuff we got going on over here. They say, and found somebody. Somebody said you had to find somebody to talk to us and hey, to spit the logic and say, hey, you know, we got this land we found over here. Give us some people. We're going to do this, that, and other. We're going to exchange. We're going to come back, bring it back, and do all this thing. I said, man, that's kind of hard. I said, well, somebody from wherever they went had to negotiate, had to make a deal, had to do something, or had some type of legislation. Whatever country they went to, bring us back. Make that deal. Say, hey, give me about $12,000 in exchange.
Okay. I got you. I get what you're saying. Sure. You know now, watch this. You made a lot of heavy points, and you somewhat aligned certain things with history, right? As an example, us being, these great big, back then we was, our statue, we was some swole big people.
And I believe back then, just because you didn't have a lot of love, like shooting stuff, so everything was bigger.
Right. There's a scripture that says, as time progresses, we become weaker. And it's probably due to how the society is being ran. You know what I mean? All the chemicals, so forth and so on. But watch this. I want to stick with the point that you made mention of. When you look at the so-called white race, Caucasians, guess what? Are they ruling over us today?
In the sense,
They are. Because guess what? When it comes to your livelihood, when it comes to bills, when it comes to trying to get a job, when it comes to even trying to get married, so forth, everything, agriculture, right? All these things, guess what? That power is in their hands, and we're the ones that have to depend upon them in order for us to be able to continue to exist, right? That power was given to them. That's the point I want to make to you. Why did that happen, though? Why are we in such a lower state? Why did these different things happen to us as a nation of people? But then yet, you got another sign here that's telling us that we are the 12 tribes of Israel. We're the chosen people of God. We're the descendants. Watch this. Deuteronomy 28 and 15. Because I'm going to show you why. How could the Caucasians, how could they conquer such a great and mighty nation? How could they? It was only by the power of God. God allowed that to happen. But you know why? We're about to read it here. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So, do you know who Moses is speaking to right here? He's speaking to the 12 tribes of Israel. All the nation of them. So, today, they would go by American Black, West Indies, like Jamaica, so forth and so on, right? The islands. And then also, you got the Haitians, that's Levi. Then when you go down, you got Ephraim, that's the Puerto Ricans today. When you got Simeon, that's the Dominicans today. These are all the 12 tribes of Israel today by seed and by bloodline. So this is who Moses is talking to. By that time, they was called Judah, Benjamin, Levi. They had their actual tribal name. But then guess what? Through slavery, through captivity, we have discontinued from what we was called by God, and now we're called American Black. These are not our God-given names. You understand my point? So as God was dealing with us during the time after we left out of Egypt, this is what he said to the 12 tribes of Israel. Read.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments.
To observe, to do what? Right. Give me some commandments. Yeah, but I want us to be pinpoint. I need to make sure we on the same accord. So what commandments did he give to us by example that we most likely broke? But what commandments you got that you can think of?
Don't kill.
Okay, that's the easy one.
Love thy neighbor.
Okay.
Don't take basically don't take another man's wife if she's already there.
Which is
Don't-
called adultery.
Adultery.
Okay.
Oh, what else? Don't lie. Don't.
So what you're doing essentially is naming the 10 commandments, right?
What I basically.
But guess what? There's over 600 commandments that God gave to us. So there's commandments, laws, and statutes. Matter of fact, get Proverbs 6 and 23. Watch this. Let me show you something. There's commandments, there's laws, and there's statutes. But watch this. We're going to deal with the 10 commandments, and we're going to deal with the other laws. Read.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 6, verse 23. For the commandment is a lamp.
So a commandment, that's a lamp, right? So you got the 10 commandments, that's a lamp. But a lamp needs an element. Watch this, read.
And the law is light.
And the laws of God is light. So the 10 commandments is a lamp, and the laws of God, that bring understanding to the 10 commandments.
So basically structure.
There you go.
Lamp is structure.
Right?
And without the light bulb, lamp.
Perfect. Exactly. I'll give you an example. Today is the Sabbath day. You might not know that, or you might not have had that knowledge before. You watch this. Get Exodus 20 and 8, and I'm going to show you something. Because God gave us, I'm going to go to the 10 commandments just to show you that God gave us the Sabbath day as a nation of people where the blacks and Hispanics, we're supposed to abide by. We're supposed to keep a special day holy to the Lord every week, same day, which is Saturday, every Saturday. But watch this, read.
The book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
So he says, remember the Sabbath day, and he wants us to keep that particular day holy, right? Read.
6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work.
So what's one thing? Remember, God says keep the Sabbath day holy. What's one stipulation that he just gave us right here that we can't do on a Sabbath day? Well, he just said, I want you to be specific with what the Bible says. Because this is how you're going to be justified to know if you're right or wrong. Because if someone was to come to you for understanding on how to follow the proper instructions, let's say you got a job manual, you got a blueprint, where there's a specific requirement or protocol that you have to follow, but outside of that, everything else is Gucci. So that's the same thing dealing with the Lord. He's giving you wisdom on what you can't do, right? So what did he say you can't do here? You want me to read it again for you? Read. In it, thou shalt not do any work. Any what? Right. So working is what? Like your 9 to 5, right? Or if you got you like some type of agriculture, you can't do those type of things. There's a lot of stipulations involved with work, but the Lord is letting us know that on the Sabbath day we can't do that.
So Sabbath day is supposed to be Saturday.
Right. And we can deal with that to give you the correct times of everything. Read.
In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant.
You got any children? You got 2. So that same law that was given to you as being the heads over the household, you're supposed to also to enforce that in your home to make sure if you got a wife or a girlfriend, which you're not supposed to have girlfriends in the Bible, but ultimately we don't comprehend that yet, but they're supposed to everyone in your household is supposed to follow that stipulation of the law where you're not supposed to marry. I'm sorry. Where you're not supposed to work on that day.
So is that the reason why they say, like, you know how on the calendar, you know, you got your 7 days. But you know, like, I don't know, when I was in school, how they was like saying, all right, Monday, the standard is the start of the week. But then when I was younger, my mom was like, no, really, like Saturday or Sunday was really the actual start.
If you go on your phone right now and you look up a calendar, I want you to tell me what's the first day that shows. Just go to your calendar. Like go to the calendar app, and then go to the weekday. And what's the first day of that week? Sunday. Right. And that's correct. But the only thing is, what's different from what your phone says dealing with the names is the Lord didn't deal with names like that. Sunday just goes into sun worship. Monday goes into moon worship. That's really what that terminology comes from because it's all Greek. But my point is, you had day 1, day 2, day 3. Sunday was day 1. So you had those 6 days where the Lord commanded us, hey, go out, you can work, do all your pleasures, do everything you need to do to take care of your business to make sure that your family's good and everything's provided for. But this one particular day, the 7th day, which is known today in society as Saturday or the Sabbath day, this day I want you to keep holy. No work on this day. You, your sons, your daughters, if you got maid or manservants, those that are in your home that maybe perhaps is working underneath your rulership or under your guidance to be able to make sure that they can pay their bills, even on Saturday, they can't do any work on that day. They can't do anything like that, right? So now, keep in mind, we just read one scripture dealing with the Sabbath day. Remember how I read Proverbs 6:23? It says the commandment is a lamp. That's the commandment. Now let's add to that. What else can we not do on the Sabbath day? Because guess what? God gave a lot of laws pertaining to that particular day. But then when you look at our people, which I'm going to go back to, because of us not listening to God and doing these commandments, that's the reason why you see us in captivity. That's the reason why the so-called white man is ruling over us. And that's the reason why we're impoverished as a people. It's all because of our actions on what we've done against God.
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.